Well, hey guys, welcome back to another episode of 0 to 60 and an update on what's happening with the E90 engine, which I was hoping to get reassembled tomorrow, but it might be a bit unlikely. Anyway, exciting times. I've just unpacked, well actually it was about 2 hours ago, I've unpacked the FCP orders. Now I did end up doing 2 of them. I did the first order, well actually it was just after we did the video where we pulled the head off, and I did ask anyone to make any recommendations or things they think I might need, and it was really good. A couple of people helped me out with the main order. However, I had forgotten to order cam bolts. Somebody mentioned it, I reckon, within 5 seconds of me hitting pay for the FCP order. And unfortunately, freight on the cam bolts was like 50 Aussie. So I ended up getting in the second order from FCP, cam bolts, another set of injectors and injector springs, a full VRS set, another head gasket. I didn't reorder head bolts because I think when we, well actually you might have worked it out, I've ordered the extra stuff to get the E92 engine assembled as well, but I didn't order another set of head bolts because I'm thinking when we build the E92, because that will be a forged engine, I'll probably go to ARP head studs as a bit of an upgrade over the stock head bolts. But man, it's pretty cool having enough, well, as much of this N54 stuff here, even if it was quite expensive. But yeah, I've pretty much got nearly everything to reassemble both engines apart from the internals, which will have to go in the E92. Now, a bit of an issue that I have just noticed, well, about 2 hours ago after I've just done all this research, is in regards to the holes just there, which I will get to in a minute, but it's a bit of a boring thing. I better just show you what I've been doing this week with the E90 head, because I've got it pretty much cleaned out. Anyway, let's go back up to the shed. Alrighty, actually, just to throw something else in the mix, got a CarPlay adapter yesterday, ended up spending nearly 10 hours on it in total updating the Android in that, but the Android now has some wicked functions, which I might do a separate video on. But with the engine, I still have the block sitting here. I haven't touched it or started cleaning this at all. I've got to clean up the piston tops and also get the sump off and just have a quick look in the bottom end, make sure that nothing weird is going on down there, but it should be fine. It should be. And this is the cylinder head. Now, hopefully you guys have seen the video I did where we did the comparison between the this CRC, the 3-bond, and the walnut blasting earlier in the week. Now in that video, I didn't need to use the chemicals at all. It was just purely trying to feed my curiosity about what it's like using the chemicals versus the walnut blasting. Yeah, I'd seen a lot of people say they used the chemicals, and I'd seen other people say that the walnut blasting was better, but I hadn't seen anyone that had used both methods. So I really just wanted to do a comparison on the same head and see how much extra work the chemicals were. And if you've seen that video, they are a hell of a lot more work. If you've got a dirty head to clean, a dirty intake valves, just get the walnut system because it will save you a lot of time. Anyway, after that video, from what you saw, I actually walnut blasted all of the cylinders. Well, I say all of them. The compressor died, so I could only actually get 4 of them walnut blasted. I will overlay some shots in there, but they are pretty much mint. Now, after I'd done the intake valves, and the intake valves were much dirtier than the exhaust side, I did use the leftover 3-bond. Actually had a separate can to do the exhaust side, so I've used the 3-bond to clean out the exhaust side. The reason I didn't walnut blast the exhaust side is I didn't have any way of catching the walnut. So if you spray that walnut when you haven't got it contained in the vacuum hose, it just goes everywhere, and it would have just made an absolute mess even if I did it outside. So I did the exhaust valves with a chemical clean, but the exhaust valve buildup is nowhere near as bad as the intake. So when it comes to cleaning the exhaust valves, you can do it quite easily with, well, I do it with 3-bond. But yeah, it was pretty easy to do. We're 99% clean in all of the areas, but I have still got to do a final little bit. Now I did just take this intake valve out earlier, and you could still see, and I'll see how we go. I might just edit this video straight away, but there was still a buildup of carbon just around the inner rim. So where the valve seats up on the valve seat, the walnuts can't get quite down into the groove. So keep that in mind. If you get your head walnut blasted, it doesn't clean it perfectly, but once you've got the valve out, I can get in here and wipe it off. And because this head has, well, pretty much all of the cylinders has had some sort of chemical soaking in it at some point. And even after I cleaned it the other day, I actually covered the whole thing in WD-40, so it's even had WD in there, just soaking in there, and the carbon just sort of wipes off now, which is really nice. But yeah, got this valve out, cleaned off the rim on the valve and off there. I actually cleaned up the rest of the valve with our brass wire wheel over there, and they look pretty much mint. And I have, actually better put that cap back on because it's been open for a while. I have relapped that intake valve. Now the plan was today, get all the valves, well, clean the rest of them, get them relapped or reseated, and replace the valve stem seals. I actually have the valve stem seals here, and it was to get these out, which is why I actually unpacked that FCP stuff just before. So I have all new intake and exhaust valve stem seals. So this head, I mean, I haven't got it properly chemical cleaned, but from all of the important areas, it's pretty much mint. And when I get the reseating done, it should be pretty much as good as if I'd sent it to a machine shop. Touch wood. So that's all going well, but then I noticed the issue with the head gasket, which I'll get to now. Let's go and have a look at the head gaskets. So the issue with the head gaskets, now I have the original head gasket that come off that E90 engine just here, and when we took it off, Jake actually said make sure you get the new one with the same amount of holes, the 2 holes, because apparently, and I didn't realize this, the holes reference how thick the head gasket is. Now the reason they do that is you can run, if you've had your head machined, which let's be real, it's quite a common thing, you run a thicker head gasket to offset the head machine work, and BMW have 2 thicknesses listed in the parts list for an N54. They have a stock one, which is 1.2 mil, and then a thicker one, which is 1.5 mil. Now all of the information I can find implies that a stock head gasket should have 2 holes. Actually, BMW refer to them as 2 locks, which must be the German for hole. Yeah, but they refer to them as 2 holes. Now that's on FCP's site based on the listings and photos, ECS's. I ended up going through and looking at anyone where I could find someone taking a head off of an N54 and looking at what was on the fitted to the vehicle. They all have 2 holes. Now, FCP, and I ordered the standard size 1.25 thickness part number, which I will show you there. It's the 725390, and that is stock thickness head gasket. But both of the head gaskets that come in both the first order and the second order have a single hole. So immediately I thought, shit, they've sent the wrong head gaskets. Double checked all the part numbers. Everything implies that I've ordered the right head gasket, and that part number should be the standard thickness, the 1.2, not the thicker 1.5. And on top of that, Jake had a quick look on his BMW info, and he said that the stock one should have 2 holes and the thicker one should have 3, but I haven't been able to confirm that, and he said he's just going off a aftermarket BMW parts catalogue. So if somebody knows how many holes should be there on a stock head gasket, that'd be great. But while I was going through all this, I thought, oh shit, well, let's just measure them. So I'll show you how they measure up as well, because that gets a bit confusing, and because I've never measured an MLS head gasket before, I'm not sure exactly how accurate these measurements are. So if I put the head gasket there, which goes across the main sealing surfaces, and I mean, obviously they're designed to be compressed, so I'm putting a fair bit of force on there, but that measures up at 1.14 millimeters, and yep, the calipers are zeroed out. Now I'll try and measure one of the ones that FCP supplied, which is going to be difficult to do one-handed whilst filming, but let's try. I did actually crack it open before. Unfortunately, I can't really get down to the sealing surface, and I don't want to open it fully if it does need to be sent back. But this one, this measures 1.55. Yeah, I can't quite get down to the main sealing surface, and I probably could put a bit more pressure on there, but I'm not going to, just in case it damages the surface. So basically, the one they've supplied with a single hole, that's 1.55 thick. Now, 1.5 is the thicker version. The original, which measures 1.1, I mean, if it's never had a head gasket before, it should have a 1.2 millimeter thickness head gasket. But of course, I imagine once they get clamped down under full torque from the head bolts, maybe they do compress a little bit. I really don't know. I don't know how much an MLS head gasket should shrink down once it's been compressed or squashed down, or if it should at all. I've never played with them before, so if somebody's got any info on how to measure an MLS head gasket, because I'm sure I'm doing it wrong, that'd be really appreciated. Or if you know if the replacement head gaskets, what the hell's going on with the single hole. It's really hard to find information on the holes. In fact, if you're doing any searching yourself, there's more info when you refer to them as the lock, L-O-C-K, which is the German for the whole thing. But it would be nice to just get clarification as to what the hell's going on with these. Now, I have emailed FCP Euro, although I'm kind of nervous that whoever answers that inquiry probably also isn't familiar with the whole situation on the head gaskets. So I'd like to get some backup info and just confirmation before we bolt it on. Jake, I actually sent him a message, and he's saying it really should be the 2-hole, but again, he's not sure, and you don't know what these manufacturers are doing when they remake these head gaskets. yeah, everything implies that it should be the standard thickness. The part number's correct. So it should be the 1.2mm head gasket, but like I said, it measures 1.5. I really don't know. Information from you guys is probably going to be the difference with this one. So yeah, it might be a bit of information for people that don't know, but yeah, the BMW apparently have holes in the corners of the head gasket, so you can identify how thick they are. I had no idea. But from this point, I'm going to wait to see what you guys say. We'll see what FCP come back with, but I'm going to put off reassembling the engine tomorrow, just in case these are the incorrect gaskets, even though the part numbers are correct. Obviously, if it is too thin or if it compresses more than it should, we will have valve to piston clearance issues. And if it is thicker than it should, I know it's not going to be much, but it will be running a lower compression ratio than what it should be. So I really want to make sure we get the right gaskets when we put that together, just for the sake of making sure it's right. Now I'm going to I'll try and upload this video straight away. I've wasted so much time in the last 2 days trying to sort out that Android, and then literally it was over 2 hours of trying to work out what the hell's going on with these gaskets and measuring MLS and all that sort of stuff, and really haven't found any useful info. But tonight I will finish cleaning up and I will lap all of those valves in the head. I'll do that after this video has gone live, so I will be watching your comments and really appreciate any information. But yeah, I'm going to leave it there. I'll keep cleaning that, get the head ready to go back on. We've just got to work out if these head gaskets are right. I didn't actually price a head gasket from BMW Australia. Maybe they're not too bad. These were, I think, $90 US, which I thought was pretty reasonable for an MLS head gasket. Well, it's supposed to be a genuine one as well. But if it's not too much money from one from BMW that's 2 holes, I might just get that done so we can get that engine done this week, I should say, instead of waiting another 2 weeks from FCP. But yeah, it's all fun and games with parts, as I'm sure a lot of you guys know. All right, guys, look, thank you very much for watching. A bit of an update on the N54. We're getting closer, but there's always some hiccups, but it could always be worse. All right, guys, so thank you very much for watching. We will catch you on the next one. Peace.